And it's kind of the poor man's sequential transmission. What are we doing in this video? We're gonna stick that in that, and then we're gonna race around and drive it. That's gonna be awesome. Oh, well, I got transmission up in there. I've got the bell housing bolts in there. You kind of saw the videos when I was putting everything together. Got the cross member in, nothing's tightened down. Cables are hanging there, so let's see, I gotta get my cables routed, attach that up, then put my drive shaft in, then put my exhaust back on. Now, so been about an hour and a half, I guess, and then you'll get a couple more things done. Oh, forgot to talk about this. Yep, I gotta do the torque converter. Yeah, spin it around and line it up, and you can see we've got a pretty good fitment. Nice fitting up in there. Go into our bell housing before we put a cover on. Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, well, let me get some more stuff done. Now, let's see, move that out of the way. It always never fails. You run out of battery right when you need it at the most important spot. All right, back to where I was. I don't tighten them all the way up. What I do is I just kind of snug them in, and I spin it around, and not tightening it all the way up allows me to have a little bit of movement or play while I'm trying to get the bolts through that flywheel. And then I come back and spin it again and tighten everything up. So that's all right. It's just a higher compression motor, not that hard. Yeah, not a big deal. That's it. Torque converter's in. Now move on to the rest of it.
You need to take this truck to fly too.
What's that?
You need to take this truck to fly too.
Yeah. Yeah, make that one fly. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Whoa. As you can see, it's coming together quickly. You saw in the video, we put the drive shaft in, and then right after that, I threw the exhaust on. Didn't do much. It's just a basic H shape. Oh, I got a light right here. Check it out. Woo. So I did a basic H shape on the exhaust, as you can see, and that allows me to pull it up, you know, I can get to the drive shaft easily, but I use a slip collar right here. That allows me just to take the exhaust apart, you know, so we can do any service work we've got to do, which is where we're kind of at now. And all I got left is put a shift cable on it. Got to break out the TCI instructions because I can never remember how to set that. And then we'll fill it up with oil and see if we got motion. I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. You know, get it back together, and we'll have this one and we'll have that one out this year, which will be, it's gonna be a blast. Gonna be a blast. All right, I gotta get back on this. Cool. The transmission's in. And let's just take a glance at what it takes to make a 50-year-old car that's an odd platform go fast on the track. You know, we could have started with different components. I mean, they don't make any racing components for an AMC Rambler from 1963. So we knew we had to do a different front suspension. Most people probably would start with Mustang too. But, you know, I didn't. I actually put a first-gen Camaro subframe. I spliced it into the existing one, and then I custom built a rack, I guess a quicker ratio rack in. Then we used a Moroso road race pan on there. This allows us to have all the components available for a first-gen Camaro. So we've got, you know, Detroit Speed lower arms, Global West upper arms. We've got Rytec tall spindles on there, and we did all kinds of great stuff on the front. And then when it comes to the back, you know, these cars were leaf springs. So we could have left it leaf spring or even built a 4-link, but we decided to go IRS. And what we did is we looked at 20 up Camaro rear ends, and we picked this one. And you can see how close, this is the original chassis for the car. And you can see where I actually cut. I don't know, can you see that? Can you see actually where I cut the subframe that came out of a Camaro, spliced it and wedged it up inside the factory chassis, and then welded it back in. You know, we got it up in there, we set our anti-squat angle, and then we cut it and welded it in. Reason I did it on the rear end is that you can see we can get a lot of great components. You know, we're using the UMI trailing arms and tow bars. We did a custom rear arm here, and that allowed us to put a coilover in there, and we could still run the sway bar. We actually found we didn't need a sway bar on the car. So that was kind of what we did underneath the car. So first gen Camaro front suspension, 5th gen Camaro rear suspension. That allowed us to do a lot of cool things with other parts of the car. So let's see what it does. That allowed us to use big brakes on the car because they're all available for Camaro gear. So you can see on the front, we did bare 6 pistons, 14-inch rotor. We did this exact same thing on the back. This was actually really cool. This was the first time that Bear had ever done the 5th gen for the 6 piston. This was their bracket they custom made for us. So we put 6 piston rear with 14-inch rotor on the back. That allowed us to have big brakes, big wheels, modern suspension, and we'll keep going from there. So that's, you know, once we got the suspension done, the brakes done, that allowed us to really package a small motor in there. So we did when we first did the car, we actually did a 5.3, and it was carbureted. And we really beat it up. We blew that motor up, went to a second 5.3, built it really big. They couldn't take the amount of horsepower that we were trying to squeeze out of it. And we actually ruined that one too. So we went to a 6.0. We built this one up. Holly got on board, gave us a Terminator X, so we fuel injected that one. And this is where the car is at now. About 600 horsepower, fuel injected, nice fully independent rear suspension. And you saw we just put the transmission in. So we're gonna show you something about the transmission that's kind of cool. All right, let's get it outside. Okay, we've got the car outside the shop now. And one of the things we wanted to talk about was that transmission. So what we used on here, because this is a 6-liter LS, we actually put a 700 R4 transmission in it. And it's kind of the poor man's sequential transmission. So we're gonna have Susie take us in her car, and we'll take it for a ride. nice with that full engine braking. That's pretty nice, that full engine braking. Okay, we're back in the shop. It was a great drive, and so just want to tell you kind of what we did with the transmission and how it works. So, you know, with automatic transmissions, you usually have to have a TV cable, or you have a kick down cable. When we modify these transmissions, all that goes away. Literally, the transmission is just its own entity. So, like on this one, the 700R4. It's full manual, so there's no automatic function anymore. It's gone completely. Full pressure, so now it doesn't require a TV cable to constantly change pressure, deciding on what your throttle position is. And then by doing that, you have full manual, right? You have constant pressure. And then we do reverse shift pattern. So when you work on it, it's first, second, third. So, you know, immediately when you pull it into, if you've ever driven an automatic, right? You always have your park, then you have reverse, then you have neutral, then you have drive. Drive is now first gear. So it's first gear, second gear, third gear, and then fourth, third, second, and first. So it works just like a sequential does. Bap, 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 bap. Has full engine braking in first, second, and third. Particularly on the 4-speed cars. There's no TV cable. You don't have to worry about that. It works off its own setup. On my car, we did the Turbo 400 version of that. Hold on. My car. We did the Turbo 400 version. Same exact setup. So we joke about it being the poor man's sequential, because if you have an automatic transmission, or you can get one relatively inexpensively, most of these vintage cars have them already in it. So for about, I think it runs about $600 for the valve body, and you could switch it out, especially if you get the correct one. You can call us, let me know. We're actually going to put them up on the website so people can run them, and then you just need the torque converter for it. And I personally don't use the higher RPM torque converters like most people recommend. Like this car, her car's right up probably at the 600 mark, probably 580, 590, and weighs about 3,300 pounds. Guys tell me, or most manufacturers say, that we should be running like a 3,600 pound torque converter in it for the stall. I've tried that. We've tried different ones in it, and it just never felt good. It just doesn't have the kick or the instant hit we were looking for. So we actually run on a 2,600 stall, I think, on hers, or actually 26. I think it's 26 or 2,400 stall, and we do the same thing on that one. I have to go look at the boxes to let you know exactly, because we switched through so many. I started just like everybody else said, put a 3,600 stall in, it'd be great, and we'd put it in. It was the laziest thing right off the line, unless you spooled it up to $4,000 and then let it drop the clutch drop the pedal every time. But yeah, so we're doing a dead stop. It was lazy. We went down, then we went down, we went down some more, and we're actually in the 2000s. I think stock on these is like 1,700, so we're not far off of stock. And both of them, like that one's about 660 horsepower on that converter, and Turbo 400, and 0 issues, and that was about 580 or so. So All right, that was the trans stuff, man. I hope that's cool. I hope that's cool. If you guys need any extra advice on this kind of stuff, please give us a shout. Doesn't cost you anything. Click, like, subscribe. It helps us. We were joking about it. We made $12 or something like that in the total month of January. We are not doing this for money. I am literally doing this to get some basic information out there that is missing, or people just don't ask. Bye.